Good evening. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Present.
Councilor Fascio,
Present.
Councilman Waldron,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Present.
Councilman Crestus.
Present.
Okay, all present.
So this is the third budget hearing, so to speak, that we've had. There will be another one next week. The manager has presented the budget formally. The budget has been posted. It's been open for any comment, and we will open it again this evening if anybody from the public has any comment. Please come forward. With there being no public comment right now, we will move to comment from council. Deputy Mayor Sapp, do you have any comment?
Yes, Mayor, thank you so much. I would just like to comment to all the department directors and the departments of Penn Hills Municipality. I just want to shout them out and say what a fine job that they do. They continue to make our job easy, and I really appreciate, Scott, if you would take that message back to them. Again, just a shout out to all the department heads. They're very well organized. They handle their business professionally, and I'm just extremely proud of them. And again, they make the job a lot easy for council, and I'm sure for Scott as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fascio, any comment?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to echo Deputy Mayor's comments. I don't think we speak to our staff and their competence enough. In terms of the budget, I want to assure folks, although you haven't heard much from up here around the budget issues, I don't know anybody who sits at this table who hasn't taken this very seriously, especially since we're considering some tax increase, both from just an accountability to the public. We're also taxpayers, so we're not totally disinterested in this. There have been several options offered. I think the one that you've heard about most is the 2 millage increase. There have been others. Councilman Crestus has put together a couple options, and I think we've all been looking at, and I would hope personally that we settle on something less than that, and perhaps over time implement it in, as opposed to all in one fell swoop. With that, though, also is the consideration on the fund balance. And talked with the, actually our manager has brought up and recommended that we have a fund balance policy so that we have almost an early warning system in place. We don't get into dipping into our piggy bank to the extent we were several years ago. And I really hope, I'd love to see a draft from you, Scott, at some point in the near future, so we could take a look at that. That being said, I think the only other specific comment I have about the budget is I have requested, and I believe, well, you never know, but I think there's support for some specific increases, minimal, considering the size of our budget, for our library. Library has had the same allocation for the past 2 years. And so just accounting for all of the things that we've experienced, in addition to being able to give staff some increases, I'd like to see that added to the budget. Thank you.
Councilman Carestis.
Thanks, Mayor. First and foremost, I couldn't agree more with everything that was said, both in terms of how well our directors work and maintain a solid budget, as well as Councilman Fascio's suggestion of increasing the library fund for next year. As she also mentioned, I did create a few different scenarios. They're right here if anybody wants a copy. I sent it out to Mayor and Council about 3 weeks ago, and all it does is walk through what our fund balance would be in 2028 if we adopted 2 mills, 1 mill this year, 1 mill next year, 1 mill this year, a $500,000 next year, or a $500,000 across 3 years. Really no secret sauce, just me with a calculator and a pen the one night and mapped it out for everyone to be able to visually see. So again, if anybody wants to see that, there you go. The key here, though, is planning across more than one calendar year. I think there's no reason why we can't come to a general sense of what we want to do, obviously, this year, but also what the plan is next year. One, it gives us a decent roadmap and be able to plan fiscally, but also it lets you know of any anticipated increases for next year if we don't go with the 2 mil rate that was initially proposed in the first draft. The way it looks today, I support a 1 mil for this year and a $500,000 for next year. I was going back and forth between, do we actually need another full mill next year? Could we bring it down to a half? I'll tell you, my estimates show that by 2028, if we did 1 mil and then a $500,000 next year, our fund balance would be close to $16 million, which does sound like a lot of money, but consider by 2028, costs just keep increasing across the board. In fact, we might even need additional funds above that, pending what the threats of tariffs that we're hearing in the news and what have you. But I feel comfortable today doing 1 mil and then agreeing that and letting the public know the plan is to move towards a $500,000 next year. That way, it's not a full 2 mills this year. It gives taxpayers a year break, but also lets you know what the plan is moving forward. So that was my thoughts. Thank you.
Councilman Waldron.
Nothing much. I just want to second the sentiments of Deputy Mayor Sapp in support of our employees and Councilwoman Fascio's comments regarding the seriousness we all take with this process, and also with the support of the library and their asks in the budget this year. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. So there's a lot to consider. Next week we will be having another meeting. I can tell you right now that the only thing that I'm absolutely 100% certain on, and the hill I want to die on, is that our firefighters should get the increase that they've asked for. This is a service that is given to every single resident of Penn Hills, available every single day, and it's not really an ask for them, it's an ask for us. And these are volunteers who have literally saved us millions upon millions of dollars. So I think that the firefighters, their quote ask, should be honored. Having said that, next week is, a week from today, is the final budget hearing, and I'm not clear where we stand on this. My understanding was that may or may not be the vote that night, because we've got to get the ordinance. So it may be that the hearing will be next week, and then we will announce another specific date for the vote.
Just so everyone's clear procedurally, there is a budget ordinance that gets approved by the end of every year. And in that ordinance, it says what the total amount of the budget is and what the millage is going to be. And so on the agenda that is published this morning, or later this afternoon, as it were, that ordinance is in there for council to consider. But because it sounds like there's still some work being done on it, it may be, in fact, that next Monday the budget's approved along with the millage. However, if for some reason that doesn't occur, if there's not a consensus on what the council wants to do, then it could happen at the end of the year. But I think the goal would be to try to have it done next week.
Okay.
But that's going to entail that there's some agreement on what the mayor and council want to do on the millage.
Thank you very much. So with that said, it will be another meeting next week, this time next week at 7 o'clock in these chambers. Have a very good evening, and this meeting's adjourned.